Hi, I'm Julie, and I've been wanting to do a small series on color for your Shrinkets and your shrink plastic beads. And the first in this series, I'm going to deal with the primary colors, and I'm only going to be doing one primary color at a time, and so we're going to start with yellow. And what I'm going to be discussing is the cool range and warm range of each color. We're not going to be going into the paler shades in those color ranges. We're just going to be dealing with the color yellow and its complement across from the color wheel, and the warm range and the cool range. And as I said, the complement across the color wheel. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the primary colors. Primary colors are yellow, red, and blue. And this is in a triangle on your color wheel: blue, yellow, and red. And then I'm going to talk about the complement. The complement of these colors would be colors that are right across from the color wheel. So for yellow, that's violet. For red, that's green. And for blue, that's orange. But we're just going to be doing yellow today. So with yellow, let's talk about yellow. Yellow has most colors do have, most colors, not all colors. I would say orange is one that doesn't really go cool and warm, so it can be kind of confusing. But let's just stay focused on yellow. So here is yellow. And yellow is just yellow. And so I've picked out colors using colored pencils because this demo is all going to be done in colored pencils. And I've picked out this Holbein color for my main yellow. And in Holbein, this one is called cream, but to me, it's a nice middle ground yellow. And then over what I call towards the cool ranges are colors that I say have, that lean more towards this side of the color wheel. Therefore, I feel they have more greens in them. This one here, if you can see, I'm gonna draw this really big. You might think of this more as how you would view a yellow early spring or on a rainy day. Think cool. And then over here we go even cooler with that yellow, and you can almost start to see the green happening in that. And then I'm just going to put this green on from my color wheel. We're dealing on the color wheel with a yellow green. So that's a green with yellow in it versus the green. So just to let you know that these go to that range. Then we're going over here to the other side of the color wheel, which goes more towards warm yellows. So you can see when you think of that, you think of sunny days, really ripe bananas, and you think of heat as ripening those bananas. You think of the sun hitting them, and then we're going way over here to a color called, that is like a marigold color. And that has a lot of gold in it and a lot of orange. So I'm putting orange over here so that you can see it. But we're just dealing with these yellows right now. And this is my base yellow. I'm going to try to say that's just a middle of the ground yellow. And then the cooler and the warmer yellows. Then on either side of them, they lean towards green and they lean towards orange. And that's what we call cooler and warmer within that yellow color range. So try to educate your eye when you see something and go, does that look like it has a little more green in it or a little more orange in it? Which side of the color wheel does it lean towards? The warmer side or the cooler side of the color wheel? As you can see on these sides, one's called yellow green and yellow oranges. And those are one step removed over here onto this that we can talk about when we talk about non-primary colors. But right in the primary color range, you do have those warms and cools. So across from yellow is violet. And why they call this a complement is because when they're right next to each other, not blended together, not overlapping, but when they're right up next to each other, butted up next to each other, or used in a design where both colors are used, complements mean that they bring out the best quality in each other. It really makes the yellow look nice and yellow, and it really makes the purple look nice and purple, meaning it complements it. Now, what happens if we mix those complements together? Well, I'm going to show you. I'm going to lightly shade down the purple, the violet, and then I'm going to lightly shade down that yellow color. And I'm going to build up over that as if I'm blending. And do you see what I'm getting? Some people would call this mud. And yes, it is. It's sometimes referenced as a muddy color. I'm blending it. And I actually come in with a colored pencil blender. There we go. Okay, and what I've created is a neutral of this color range. And this is how you can make browns, nice browns. And I'm going to show you, I've picked out a colored pencil that I think matches that. See, that's how I would make this color, and this color is a nice tan color. Let's put our blender on it. And look just in colored pencils how quickly I have shown you that I have created a nice neutral that goes very well with this color set right there. And if I was just using these colors in a design, it would be very nice. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create some Shrinkets beads using these colors. And instead of blending when I'm doing this design, instead of blending these two, I'm simply going to go ahead and use the tan that I found that it made, because you see how closely this makes this tan. And I just want to state that when using complements, put them beside each other unless you want to make a brown. And when you're making this soft brown, build it up with shading. So I'm going to talk about shading a little bit here. Let's take and create a shade bar. Okay, I'm going to take these blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this might be a nice way. I'm just going to use one color here. And this may be a way, I'm sharpening, for you to learn how to shade. First of all, notice my hand here. I'm lightly on the paper, or when it will be your shrink plastic, and look how my hand is doing a twirling motion. And I'm building up color. Just building it up over here and twirling. So that's how you can shade. Now, let's start really light in this box. And then just a little heavier in the number 2 box. A little heavier in the number 3 box. A little heavier in the number 4 box. A little heavier in the number 5 box. I see what I did right here. I'm going to catch it in a minute. And number 6. And heavier in the number 6. And that's how you can learn shading. So you see that here, I can also just do it by building up my color. So it's number 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's shading, and that takes practice, and it can be done with any color. Now, let's do something really fun with this. Let's take our greens out, and let's do an ombre effect. We're going to start in the center, and we're just going to do it about a number 2 shading range. And then we're going to come and overlap this. And then overlap this. And then we're coming over here and overlapping. All in kind of, what did I say, a number 2, right in this range shading. And I'm doing that twirling motion. And look how we created this nice ombre effect, going from warm to cool in our yellow. And of course, if we wanted, but we're not talking about this, we're not talking about the other colors, but this is where it goes next. There. Okay, next we're going to go on and we're going to just do these in our Shrinkets. I'm going to do a grouping of 3, and I'm going to start with my large one. And my large one I'm going to do in my warm and neutral and medium ground color range. These 3 colors. So I'm gonna start with the shading building up to about a number 2 or a number 3. About a number 3 here and out to a number 1 right here to the tip. Really light, and then building up. Building up here in the towards the center. I'm just going to get heavier as I go. Now I'm going into my 4 and 5 range, keeping this out here as the 1. Shading in heavier, shading in heavier. Just that twirling motion and building up a lot over here with a more pressure around here and a really light pressure here with this twirling motion. And of course you could do this with pastels. Markers might be a little bit harder. You really can't shade with markers. So I'm saying pastels, and pencils work really well. And I'm on my frosted side of the shrink plastic, which is very much like drawing paper. So I'm coming in here, and notice how I'm building this up till I'm almost at my 6 range in here towards the center. And I have this nice effect. And then I'm coming in here with dots. This is all going to be about the warm side, these 3 colors right here. And now I'm going to come in with my neutral, which is these 2 colors combined, and we've chosen a tan pencil to represent it. You can use any of your colored pencils. Just find your colors that coordinate with this. Making this a heavier line and then a thinner line out here on the sides of this. And then I am going to come in with my complement. And I'm doing a little complement line out here on the tips of these. Okay, oops, I forgot to put my lines out here. Okay, there's that one, and now I'm going to the next sides down, making sure that you can see this. I know I'm over here on the side, but I want you to be able to view this while I'm drawing, coloring. So now on this one, I'm going to be working with the cooler colors over here in this range. So I'm going to do something different on this design, using this color right here. I see my purple dots are showing through. And then I'm going to come over here to the lemon. This is I'm going to sharpen this. And I'm going to use shading over the top of this. And I'm just going to stay within my 1 and 2 range. I'm not gradating it. I'm just keeping it even. And I'm overlapping. I'm not staying within the teardrop shape. I'm just overlapping on this. So this flower will be in the cool range and the other one will be in the warm range. And then I'm going to come in with my cream or middle ground, my middle ground yellow. And I'm doing little lines right here. And then I'm coming in with my tan. That's my combination color. And I will put complements on this in the violet color. In Holbein, this is called the wisteria. I didn't pay attention really to the color names. I came closer to just what looked best, closest on my color wheel. Match your color wheel. Go with your color wheel. Purchase a color wheel and match this when working on this project. There, I want to show you what we have so far. We have one, now you can really see warm yellows, cool yellows, and the complement and the neutral that both of them made. And there it really stands out there. Now let's go to this one. And this little one, we're going to use the farthest one over here and the farthest one over here. So the real lemony green and the real marigoldy yellow. And I'm going to just put lines on this. So this is a combination of them both. And I'm shading. Just even color range within about a number 2 shade. Number 1 and number 2. And I'm not going to use the tan on this one. I'm going to be coming over here with the purple, and where I kind of go over that yellow, it's going to start to go a little tan. It's going to mute it just a little bit, but it only mutes it ever so slightly because I was in these light ranges. So it's just starting to build and mix. And there we are with our color mixes, a mixture of both warms and cools. And I'm going to have a second pair of this so that I can make earrings out of this, and I will shrink them down next in our next step. So I'm ready to shrink, and because this is a larger bead, I'm probably going to use my shrinking bowl here. This is for my hand forming set that I sell on my site, and it contains the heat when using larger beads and make them shrink faster. So we have choices where we can go a matte on the surface of our bead or a shiny, and the matte side is the side that we've colored. I'm going to make this first bead, the large one, shiny, so I'm placing shiny down in the bowl, and I'm going to heat around the perimeter of this, holding my heat gun tip about at the tip of the glide pin, the metal glide pin. I'm trying to tilt it so you can see me shrinking. Keeping the heat around the perimeter, and when I have the petals that look like they're curling in, I take the heat and put it out of the bead, not in the center, but pull the heat away from that. If I put the heat out here, the bead will pull away yet still shrink. So I'm going to put this in here, and it only allows me to push down so far because it's a big bead, and I'm going to count to about 7, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, and I'm taking that out, and there I have the bead, and you can really see this was done in the warm yellows. The next one I'm going to do is in the cool yellows, and that's our middle size bead, and I'm going to put the frosted side down. I will have a frosted colored bead. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. I don't have to hold it as much because it's a smaller bead. Blow on it a little bit to make sure it's cool. Now you can really see between cool yellow and warm yellow. Now this one is the one where we did both, and I'm going to put the shiny down. So I'm going to have a shiny bead. One 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. Blow on it a little so it cools. And this one is kind of a mix between the two, just plain yellow. Warm, cool, center colors of yellow. Now I'm going to make an earring out of this. Earrings. So I'm ready to do my little design here, and I'm starting with a silver head pin, and I'm going to put a violet, a heishi bead, a violet, a heishi bead, and a violet, and then I'm going to put a cool yellow on, and my smallest Shrinket bead. Then I'm going to come in with a purple, and I'm going to put my medium on, and then I'm going to come in with a large yellow, and I'm going to put my largest, my largest bead on over the top of that, and then I'm going to come in with a sequin, and I'm using a little bronze spacer bead to represent my brown in there. And then I've got two choices. I'm going to look and see if that makes the stack too tall. And it's a little too much yellow for me, so I'm going to come in with this little purple. And I'm going to end it. And I probably will put a little yellow on the end. So I'm putting a little yellow seed bead on the end, just a hint of color, and then I'm going to wire wrap. I'm putting my wire wrap pliers in this hand and holding it very firmly and bending this back. Then to create a nice loop, I'm torquing this towards me. I will pick up my pliers in my left hand and hold the loop that I've created very firmly and wrap my tail around the main tail, the main pin in there. I've got to be careful not to snap my little seed bead here. So to get that tail in there snug, I'm switching pliers and folding that gently in place around it and straightening. And there I've got my wire wrap, and I can open up the tip of these little lever backs, place this on here. Definitely need new glasses. I'm having a hard time seeing that because everything's so shiny. And there I have this sweet little earring dangle. I will do the other one and show them together.